The pressure altitude at a given location is indicated on the altimeter after the altimeter is set to 29.92 inches of mercury. Outside air temperature increases during a flight at constant power and a constant indicated altitude. True airspeed will increase and true altitude will increase. While you are flying at flight level 250, you hear ATC, FL 250, because they don't say flight level. While you are flying at FL 250, you hear ATC give an altimeter setting of 28.92 inches of mercury in your area. At what pressure altitude are you flying? Answer: 25,000 feet. Pressure altitude is the altitude read. Oh. Pressure altitude is the altitude read on your altimeter when the instrument is adjusted to indicate height above the standard datum plane. How can you determine the pressure altitude on an airport without a tower? Set the altimeter to 29.92 inches of mercury and read the altitude indicated. Under what conditions is pressure altitude and density altitude the same value? At standard temperature. Which altitude is indicated when the altimeter is set to 29.92 inches of mercury? Answer: pressure. How does a pilot normally obtain the current altimeter setting during an IFR flight in Class E airspace below 18,000 feet? Answer: ATC periodically advises the pilot of the proper altimeter setting. Local altimeter settings should be used by all pilots in particular area primarily to provide for better vertical separation of aircraft. En route to at FL 90, the altimeter is set correctly, but not reset to the local altimeter setting at 30.57 inches of mercury during descent. If the field elevation is 650 feet and the altimeter is functioning properly, what is the approximate indication upon landing? Sea level. Under what condition will true altitude be lower than indicated altitude with an altimeter setting at 29.92? Colder than standard air temperature. Which of the following defines the altitude used when maintaining FL 210? Pressure. At an altitude of 6,500 feet MSL, the current altimeter setting is 30.42 inches of mercury. The pressure altitude would be approximately 6,000 feet. What is the procedure for setting the altimeter when assigned an IFR altitude of 18,000 feet or higher on a direct flight off airways? Answer: set the altimeter to the correct reported setting for climb out and 29.92 inches of mercury upon reaching 18,000 feet. Altimeter setting is the value to which the scale of the pressure altimeter is set. So altimeter indicates the true altitude at elevation, field elevation. Which condition would cause the altimeter to indicate a lower altitude than actually flown? True altitude. Answer: air temperature warmer than standard. When an altimeter is changed from 30.16 inches of mercury to 29.96 inches of mercury, in which direction will the indicated altitude change and by what value? Answer: altimeter will indicate 200 feet lower. When the altimeter is changed from 30.11 inches of mercury to 29.96 inches of mercury, in which direction will the indicated value change and by what value? The altimeter will indicate 130 or 150 feet lower. If you're departing from an airport where you cannot obtain an altimeter setting, you should set your altimeter to answer the airport elevation. En route at FL 290, the altimeter is set accurately, but you fail to reset the local altimeter setting of 30.26 inches of mercury during descent. If the field elevation is 134 and your altimeter is functioning properly, what will be the indicated after landing? 206 feet MSL or below MSL. Under which condition will pressure altitude be equal to true altitude? When standard atmospheric conditions exist. How can you obtain the pressure altitude on flights below 18,000 feet? Answer: set your altimeter to 29.92 inches of mercury and read the pressure altitude on the instrument force.